Now in question number 1 then, we're given that f of x is identical to 2 minus 5x to the power minus 2, and asked to expand this then up to the term in x cubed. Now this is a typical question for the binomial expansion, and I'll just remind you what the binomial expansion is. Here it is down here. If you've got any bracket of the form 1 plus x raised to the power n, then it's identical to 1 plus nx plus n times n minus 1x squared over 2 factorial, and so on. Okay? Now, if we're to do this, the problem is we've got this 2 here, and the formula has to have a 1 in this position. So what I've got to do is to change this to this particular form. And to do that, what we'll do is pull out the 2, okay, in front of a bracket, and we're going to put all this lot to the power minus 2. Okay, so I've just got to make inside here come to 2 minus 5x, so that means I've got to have a 1 there, so 2 times 1 is the 2, and then 2 times something gives minus 5x, so it has to be minus 5x over 2. Alright, so that's the first part then. Now when you've got this all to the power minus 2, it's exactly the same as saying 2 to the minus 2, okay, multiplied by the bracket 1 minus 5x over 2, that also to the power minus 2. Now 2 to the minus 2 should know is 1 over 2 squared, or in other words 1/4, and now we've got to start expanding this bracket because it's now of this format. We've got the 1. The x part though, the x term here, is now going to be replaced with minus 5x over 2. Alright? So according to the expansion formula, it's going to be 1 plus n, which is now minus 2, so put that in brackets, minus 2, times x. But remember that x is really minus 5x over 2. So put that in brackets, minus 5x over 2. Okay, so that's that term, the x term. We now need the x squared term, so it's going to be n times n minus 1. n is the power, and the power is minus 2. Whoops, should put a plus there. The power is minus 2, so that's minus 2. And then you need to subtract 1 away from that power, so that's minus 3. Then it's the x term squared, and the x term is minus 5x over 2, so that's minus 5x over 2 all squared, and this is over 2 factorial. Alright, 2 factorial being 2 times 1, so I'm just going to write that as 2 times 1 in there. Now we go on to the x cubed term, so that's plus, and n times n minus 1 times n minus 2, n being minus 2, the power. Now take away another 1, so that's minus 3. Take away another 1 again, so that's minus 4. It's over 3 factorial, so we'll slip in 3 times 2 times 1. Okay. And then it's times x cubed, and x is the minus 5x over 2 again, so we've got minus 5x over 2, and that's cubed, plus, and so on. Don't forget that, and so on. Alright? Okay, so all we need to do now is just tidy this up. I'll remove the formula there for the moment. Okay, so it's in our way. So all we need to do now is just tidy up, as I said. So that's 1/4, and so we have a bracket 1, and then this term minus 2 times minus 5x over 2. Those two 2's cancel, just leaving plus 5x. Okay. Moving on, I can see that this 2 cancels with the minus 2 here to be minus 1. And looking at the sign that we're going to get a plus term here, and then multiplied by 2 minuses here, that's still going to retain a plus. So it's going to be plus. And then we've got 5 squared, which is 25, so that's 25 times the 3 here, that's going to be 75, over 2 squared, so that's going to be 4, and that will be x squared. So 75 over 4 x squared. Now this term here, we can see that we can cancel the 3 and the 2 into these ones here at the top, so that's -1, -1. Alright, and when this is expanded, I can see that I'm going to get 5 cubed, that's 125. Okay, and on the bottom here we're going to have 2 cubed, which is 8, and the 4 will cancel into the 8 twice, so that's going to be plus 125 x cubed over 2. Alright, and that's plus, and so on. So all I need to do now is just simply multiply by the quarter, and so quarter times 1 is going to be a quarter. Quarter times the 5x is plus 5x over 4, and then we have quarter times 75 over 4 is going to be 75 over 16, and that'll be x squared, and finally plus 125 x cubed over 8, and don't forget, and so on. Alright, and so that's f of x expanded now up to the term in x cubed. And that brings us to the end of question number 1.